Thanks, everyone, for having me. As you know, my name is Maddy Crippen, and I swam for the United States in the 2000 Olympic Games in the pool. And I am here tonight to speak on behalf of my brother, Fran. Fran was an elite swimmer in both the pool and the open water. But it was the open water where he really found his passion. I'm going to tell you about Fran, about his dreams, and how they align with the open water swimming community and what you're doing here today. As I prepared this week, I read an article that referenced the Latin phrase, ad ingenium faciendum. The translation, toward the building of character. The author believed ad ingenium faciendum was the essence of the educational experience. Struggling, succeeding, trying again, and having fun, all within a nurturing but competitive environment. He said this experience is what builds character. And as I was reading, I couldn't help but think and reflect on how this idea is essential to open water swimming's current state of sport, and how, in an ironic twist of fate, it really defines the life of Fran Crippen, struggling, succeeding, trying again, and having fun, all within a nurturing but competitive environment. Those thoughts led me to reflect on this gathering and the reason we are all here for the first annual Open Water Swimming Safety Conference. Over the course of the last 5 months, I've become a quick study in the history of open water swimming and the culture that exists beyond the lane lines and the flip turns. It is the sport in its most rare and natural form, and my brother loved it and the community it created. Watching Fran immerse himself in this community taught me that swimming literally spans cultures, it spans languages, and it spans religions. Fran assimilated into the open water swimming community so well that he became an integral part of the OWS culture and one of its biggest advocates. The community that embraced him and consequently supported me and my family after his tragic passing in October is the same community that has shown the outpouring of love and support. And it is our job now to yield that support into a positive effect for swimming. In the past few months, Fran's family and friends have created the Fran Crippen Elevation Foundation. Fran believed life should be led with established goals and a clear focus on achieving your dreams. This foundation was established to reach those goals and keep those dreams alive. Are there dangers in open water swimming? Of course. Every sport has its risks. Every day, people get hurt, break bones, incur concussions, and most tragically, they lose their lives. This does not mean sports should stop. It means the focus has to be redirected to the athlete. The athlete's safety and well-being, no matter what level of experience, must be each responsible person's priority, first and foremost. Almost immediately after hearing the news of my brother's death, I had the urge to pick up his flag and run it across the finish line. One of the many dreams of Fran Crippen was to grow the sport of open water swimming. It is this fervor to continue his legacy and support his goals and his dreams to make his dreams and goals resonate throughout the global open water swimming community. I applaud everyone in this room for seeing through the questions that exist within the sport and understanding that with a universal vision, the sport can continue to succeed and offer each member of its community a nurturing but competitive environment. As a point of reference, let me step back and give you a brief history of the journey that led me here to you today. I come from a family of swimmers. As the oldest of my parents' 4 children, I supposedly led my sisters and brother into the ocean, bay, and subsequently the pool. I asked to join a swim team at 8. My brother Fran tagged along because that's what little brothers do. Our sisters Claire and Teresa were a bit younger, and they were forced to go to meets to cheer on their brother and sister. Eventually, they were hooked and became competitive swimmers as well. Becoming swimmers never really was discussed. We all were just pretty good, and we liked the water. As we grew and matured, the sport played a different role and very personal role in each of our lives. For my sisters and me, it was the stage of life. Our passion for swimming was, and is, strong enough to drive a fierce commitment for a decade, and fortunately a chance to compete at the Olympic trials. My sister Claire actually finished her last race today. For Fran, being a swimmer was different. My mom always said, you girls are passionate, but Fran, he is fanatical. For swimming was not a box that he would check off. It was a lifestyle. And he said, as a professional swimmer, he was living the dream. So Fran's death was wretched news for the obvious reasons. He was our beloved brother, son, boyfriend, friend, teammate. And the tragedy of a young life ending so early and abruptly was and still is heartbreaking. But the illogical means by which Fran passed made his death that much more inconceivable. Fran drowned while swimming in a 10K race. Was the water warm? Yes. Were the conditions ideal? No. But ultimately, there was a moment when he was swimming and a moment when he stopped, and no one saw that moment. There was not a trained professional there to provide supervision to be close enough to Fran to save his life. And as you can imagine, upon hearing of these circumstances, I immediately became committed to making big changes, just like Fran would. I went on Good Morning America and I talked about my plans. I told CNN that I would stop these drownings. I even stood on top of the Rocky Steps in Philadelphia, a place my brother held most sacred, and I droned on about my devotion to keeping the sport safe for everyone. I was committed to dedicating myself to making sure this tragedy would never happen again. But as I made these passionate promises, I didn't think about the thousands of races that go on throughout the world. I didn't think about everyone in this room's enthusiasm, your lives, your passion. I was ignorant to the widespread popularity of the sport. And then, 2 months after Fran's death, again, halfway around the world, a 45-year-old man failed to finish the Myanmar Mile. I'd heard of this race's impeccable reputation and immediately thought, how could I be so naive? If the experts in Myanmar lost someone, there was no way that I could control accidents. This revelation was big for me. I'm a glass is half full kind of girl, and all of a sudden, the glass looked empty. I continued to reflect on the Myanmar tragedy, and I was thinking about it when I came across Ad Ingenium Faciendum. I thought about the role of struggle in building character and realized that this phase that I was going through, this struggling, is all part of the education process that will build my character. And the struggle that open water swimming is experiencing is a necessary step as the sport continues to grow and organize itself. Fran's death is a harsh reminder that awareness and training are the only weapons we have in protection against we have in the protection of both this great sport and the athletes that choose to compete in it. And we are here to raise awareness of that need. It is this revelation that each peak and valley are character builders for both me and the sport that made the glass half full again. If there is one thing I learned from this tragedy, it is that you cannot control everything, but together we can make a difference. With each conference, with each swim, with each conversation, we can bring awareness, and awareness is half the battle. If no one knew about the problem, no one would do anything about it. There was this guy named Seth Godin. He's a marketing guru with the outstanding ability to make life seem conquerable. He recently came out with a new book, Poke the Box. The book is about how we are in an era of editors. Everyone likes to critique, to put their 2 cents in. Every day, the news is filled with Monday morning quarterbacks who judge others' performances. Very few of us actually start and finish projects. And as he says, make a ruckus and take risks. He quotes a man named Henry Miller in the book. Henry says, all growth is a leap in the dark, a spontaneous, unpremeditated act without the benefit of experience. Reading those words brought me back to my declarations of drowning and the idea of character building. By carrying Fran's flag and starting this and helping start the foundation, and by coming here today, I was taking a leap in the dark. And as Seth said, that's a good thing. I am going to work to keep athletes' well-being the main priority for everyone, from governing bodies to race directors, and you are too. I flew here last night thinking about these things, about Fran, about swimming, about character, about safety, about the sport, and about growth. I thought about you all here together because you have the guts, you have the heart, and you have the passion to grow. You have a goal, an obtainable goal, and this is a step forward. As a group of passionate people, you are going out and you are making a ruckus. You are not just thinking about it, you are doing it, and I'm proud to be a part of it. While I was having my moments of misgiving, the negative feeling was even more impactful because when Fran first died, I felt like he whispered in my ear. He told me I had to work a little harder, I had to scream a little louder, I had to fight a little tougher because it wasn't just about me anymore. As I doubted my ability to positively affect change, I was simultaneously giving up the dream, and Fran was all about the dream. He had a dream of coming out to California and swimming for Coach Rose and Mission Viejo. Check. He had a dream of winning medals internationally for his country. Check. And ultimately, he had a dream of making the Olympic team. Fran did not get a chance to accomplish this last goal. But for Fran, the battle was in establishing the goal and having the courage to go after it. It is in this vein that my parents chose "Work the Dream" as a slogan for his foundation. Fran looked at each day as an opportunity to make a difference. He lived his life by this one creed: every moment made a difference, every day mattered, every person counted. So it is my job now to work this dream and help you keep the waters open and safe for all athletes. We will do this together by embracing every moment and making sure every day matters and every person counts. As part of the Fran Crippen Elevation Foundation, we will be rolling out a program in the next 24 months called Team Fran. Our goal is to empower people to compete in endurance events and live like Fran. Members of Team Fran will be connected to a group of individuals, both literally and in spirit, who believe that giving anything less than their best is to sacrifice the gift. Part of giving one's best, one's all, is the ability to dream, to set a goal, and to work with it. Team Fran will support athletes of all ability levels in their pursuit of these dreams by offering support for various athletic events. As Fran pursued his dream of an Olympic berth, he believed no one's passion should be hindered due to financial reasons. The FCEF will use the funds raised by Team Fran to provide financial support to committed athletes like Fran and empowering them to continue to work their dream and achieve their goals. I'm introducing this concept to you because there's a very good chance that in the next 24 months, you will be hearing from someone involved in the foundation, asking for feedback and the opportunity to have Team Fran compete in your events. If you have any initial thoughts of how we can make this model more successful, we would love to hear your ideas. There are flyers here today with contact information, or you could log on to francrippen.com and send us a note. I would like to thank you all for including me this weekend. Everyone in this room has the vision necessary to grow this outstanding sport and allow it to influence as many lives as possible. Together, we have the dream to give every person that dives in the water a standard of safety that should not be questioned. This is the dream, and this weekend, you work the dream. I would now like to take a few minutes to show you a video about Fran. My hope is that it will help you work the dream. And there's some audio-visual issues, so I'm just gonna.
In 26 years, and travels far and wide, he made his life a movable feast of resilience and inspiration, of unconditional kindness and infectious joy. In 26 years, he pursued with a glowing passion a path of honor, excellence, and commitment. He is the man who, swimming side by side, would subdue a child's fear of the water, gently escort the elderly into the pool, compromise his own race to go to the aid of a struggling competitor, celebrate another's victory as if it were his own. Though his fierceness as an athlete was unquestioned, Fran Crippen lived by a very special creed. He put others first. He was the product of one of America's most notable swimming establishments, Dick Schulberg's Germantown Academy, and also the product of one of America's most notable and respected swimming families. Older sister Maddy, a 2000 Olympian, younger sisters Claire and Teresa, now competing in the pool for Virginia and Florida. Remarkably, 4 elite swimmers raised by Pete and Pat in the same house in a little place called Conshohocken, Pennsylvania. For globetrotting Fran, this Philadelphia suburb was forever his favorite spot in all the world, and his enduring enthusiasm extended to all the local teams, especially the Phillies.
Every time he stepped into a room, he just lit it up. He was the hardest worker I knew, and pushed me every day in the pool.
Fran was an 11-time All-American at Virginia, twice ACC Swimmer of the Year. He represented the United States at the Pan-Pacific Championships and the Pan Am Games. In 2008, though a contender, he didn't make the Beijing Olympic team, but he used the setback to rededicate himself.
Today we're going to do some open water swimming.
He ultimately discovered that his talent and zeal were most suited to one of the sport's most physically demanding events, open water swimming, a test of stamina, resolve, and fearlessness. Notably, last year at the World Championships in Rome, Crippen won a bronze medal in open water, an indication that the 2012 London Olympics were certainly within his grasp. In words from his family, it was his goal and dream to represent the United States in the Olympic Games. He is an Olympian in our hearts, and while he no longer walks next to us, we feel him with us always. Said girlfriend Caitlin Regan, "When I was around Fran, he made me think I could do things that I never dreamed I could accomplish." And addressing the Germantown community, Headmaster Jim Connor wrote, "Fran was a carrier of light. All whom he met were a beneficiary of his warmth. He was a role model and mentor, a good son, a loving brother, a grateful pupil, a mature man." The U.S. swimming community has lost one of its most loved and one of its best. A 26-year-old who showed us not just how to compete, but how to live.